I'm Mike Sullivan. Today I'd like to talk to you about how practicing hitting golf shots with only your trail arm can help you learn how to play with a square club face and keep your club on plane. Okay, so we're talking about practicing one arm drills, so swinging the club with one hand on the club, only using your trail arm. First thing I'm going to do actually is get rid of the ball, because this is where we want to start. It's definitely harder to hit a shot one-handed than it is two-handed, and I'm sure that makes some sense to you. So I was watching the Masters actually recently, it was a couple of weeks ago, and they were talking about Hideki Matsuyama, how he had been practicing hitting one-handed pitch shots. He was hitting them with his trail arm, making little pitch shot motions like that. So here's why this can be valuable to you. And let's talk about the problems that most golfers have. Most golfers that we see here, they play golf with a club face that is chronically open. And what that means is, if you just take a look at, if I was gonna, forget about golf for a second. Let's say if I was gonna swing my hand here and I was gonna go ahead and just try to hit something, slam a door shut kind of hard, boom, like that. Well, when I go to bring my hand back, my arm back, notice that there's really not any rotation of my wrist this way. All you're really doing is seeing a motion where, you know, I'm moving my elbows and my hips and my shoulders and everything, but I'm not getting this to happen, okay? I'm also not really noticeably moving my shoulder in a way that brings my hand back behind me like that, okay? Yet when so many people hit golf shots, what they'll do is, what you'll see them do is they'll start the club back using their hands, and what they're doing is they're opening their club face relative to the plane they're swinging on. So this would be like a square takeaway, and this would be like an open takeaway. We see a lot of people playing golf where the club comes back and starts this way. Then when they go to get back to hitting their shot, they end up trying to square the club face by swinging the club on an out to in path, or over the top, or to the left for a right-handed golfer, or you see them really trying to figure out a way to manipulate the club face and kind of control it to square it on the way down. And that usually adds lofted impacts. The ball goes higher and shorter. Also, you tend not to compress the ball that way. So those golfers, when they hit good shots, it's usually with no divot, right? It's just, they kind of pick it off the turf. And then when they hit bad shots, they're thin, like a sculled shot, or they're fat. They're a chunk shot where they hit the ground first. Okay, so let's talk about this drill. So if I ask most people, by the way, to go ahead and put their trail arm on the club, so right-handed golfer is right hand, I say, just put your hand on the club, forget about golf, and what feels right to you. And they'll usually put their hand on so that the palm of their hand is basically pointing on a line parallel to their club face. Or in other words, their palm is matching their club face, and that's intuitive. Yet when they grip the club with both hands, who knows what they're gonna do, okay? Usually it's under too much this way. All right, so the first thing is, when you grip it, think about the palm matching up with the club face, like that, okay? Secondly, if I'm going just one-handed here, and it's a really good idea to take your free hand, so your lead arm, and just hold your bicep kind of against your rib cage here, so that you don't end up doing this sort of a thing, because that's not the way you'd swing a club, right? So when you have two hands on the club, you know, you're gonna turn your shoulders more. So let's go ahead and hold that there, so that kind of encourages a shoulder turn. But it's really easy for people now when they bring the club back. You can see how my trail hand here, it's kind of cupping as I bring it back. It's definitely not natural to do this. And when you go to swing the club a little bit, because swinging one-handed, you're going to notice the weight of the club more, and you're not going to try to force and control the club as much. People are going to swing the club in a more of a natural way, and believe it or not, the more natural way is to just keep the club face square to the arc. All right, that's not natural for most people to hit balls that way, but it's actually the easiest, most efficient way to make this little move is this way, right, rather than doing that. And by the way, as you're doing this, since you've already watched the video, you can go ahead and think about it. Hey, let's go ahead and keep that palm of that that right hand, that trail hand, matching up with the club face, and try to keep it pointing at the ground here more, as opposed to pointing out away from me or pointing at the sky. So that would be super wide open right there, right? So let's try hitting a couple shots. Now, when you first start doing this, you may miss a few. So it's no big deal, all right? I've got it on a tee, so it's nice and friendly. My palm matches my club face, right? And I'm just gonna go ahead and get this swinging. Okay, look at that. Now you'll notice at the end of my swing, I've got my hips over on top of my front foot here. So it looks kind of like this. So I'm gonna bring it back with those shoulders, right? And then I'm gonna just kind of let my pressure move into my front foot, and that starts the downswing for me. And when you really start doing this right, what's gonna happen is as you come through, you're gonna have more of a instinct to keep this hand ahead of that club head as opposed to getting that to happen, right? So you would really feel this one-handed, okay? So not only is this gonna help you out with your club face, not only is it gonna help you with your swing plane, because this is the definition of a club on plane. When the club is parallel to the ground, it's parallel to your target line. It's also gonna help you with impact, because this will act, you'll realize, oh, this is what I want, this is not what I want. So changing face on, this is what I want, that's not what I want, okay? When I do it wrong, the butt end of the club kind of whacks me down the bottom of my forearm like that. So I'm looking to keep that handle leaning, like that way, all right? So practice that way. You know, I know when you go to the range, if you buy a bucket of balls, you don't want to hit all those balls you just paid for with little half swings. Hit a few like that and make a lot of practice swings that way. When you can hit little shots with just one hand on the club, then you'll really be able to hit shots with both hands on the club. Give that a try. It'll help you control not only your ball flight, but also help you hit much more solid shots. I hope that helps. I'll see you next time.